The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
We're back with main studio guest, of course, former Governor Carl Gutierrez, who's also a candidate for governor in 2018. Governor, GMH, it's been a problem, even way before you. We have what's facing us now. Governor Calvo is proposing to borrow $125 million to refurbish, I guess, to re-enhance GMH and make it a money-making entity as well. Your thoughts on that, and what has to change? Because you might be governor here a year from today. You might be governor. You're going to be facing that same thing that you faced when you first became governor back in 1995.
Back in I'm not sure about that. I think it was 97, 98 when I went and took over the hospital. The legislature at that time just didn't want to assist me in trying to help, move things forward, especially for the hospital. Yeah. They took away my authority to give them $250,000 every month. But the organic access that you have to give services, whether you have the money or not. And so I did that.
It's in essence a free hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. But the legislature did not want to approve and confirm those appointees I was putting at the hospital. So there was no quorum at the hospital. So under the Organic Act of Guam, I'm responsible. I went there and took over because there was no quorum to be able to make determinations there. People don't know that still. So they never say that.
So they couldn't make any financial
nothing. There was no quorum. So I had to step in and make the decision for the director there.
So you had to be the administrator.
I had to be the administrator there. So, and then the legislature says, you can't do that. The Organic Act doesn't say that. Well, guess what? Governor Carl was saying yes. I went up there and I took over the hospital. That's what the Organic Act said. And now, as far as as a way to sort of extricate ourselves from this myriad of problems at the hospital, first of all, you have to understand how much is it that we're giving away for free. No business can survive giving away,
Absolutely.
And I think the hospital between I think it was maybe $35 and $40 million, I'd say around $38 million is what they are not collecting. So I'm saying, forget about borrowing. You don't need to borrow. We're borrowed out of existence right now. Your children, grandchildren are going to be ending up paying that. Have the legislature just work on these things that require for them to appropriate every year that amount of money, and figure out how to go to Washington, D.C. through another Compact Impact or another program to Health and Human Services, which I was working with Secretary Tommy Thompson, and have that appropriation every year so that the hospital at least can break even. But make that appropriation every year. You don't have to go borrow it. Just make it out of the budget.
Governor, couldn't we go back and say, hey, look, we've got services, we've got money here in this bank, and it can only take us another month, only another month. Otherwise, we're going to have to close down. I mean, if by the Organic Act that we're supposed to provide service, whether or not people can afford it or not, somebody's got to pay for it. And if we keep going, like you said, no business will stay in it, will be in existence if you cannot afford it. How can we make that fight and say, hey, look, we have no more to give, nothing. We'll run out of medicines.
But look at Gov Guam is a business. How can you keep having people there? You're paying people without any money. Pretty soon you're going to run out too. Gov Guam is a business. If you're replete with employees, figure out how to pare it down and remove some of the laws right now that are not the core functions of government. There's myriads of laws to say, give $1 million here, $1 million there. Pare it down. We did that, and we wrote to the legislature, here's 3,000 laws that you can remove from the books. And let's get back, for example, the Department of Education, the core responsibility of the Department of Education. We have so many different programs that bleed us by millions if you start adding it up. But Gov Guam is a business. What do you do with it? Deal with it as a business and start paring down the employees. I did that. I had 32-hour work week when it was hard for us to make payments. That's what I'm talking about, thinking as a businessman. That's why I'm a right-leaning Democrat.
So that being said, Governor, should the people of Guam elect you as governor as well? Are you saying that the government at this point just cannot afford the size of government that we have at this point? So we need to pare it down. Are you in favor then of maybe looking at agencies to maybe eliminate or maybe even employees, that maybe there's redundancy of services that also can already be done by another agency?
Absolutely. First of all, what's the most important thing? First, health. You know, they say education, but health. Because if you're not healthy, you don't care to go to school.
Sure, of course.
Health, education, safety, okay, and protect the economy, okay, because that's what's going to give us the money to be able to have a good life here. That's how you start working, okay, down the line. But we're replete of employees out there that's not in the right position. Police officers, they sorely need a lot of police officers. Customs, they're almost 100-some people, 113 people down from the time I was there. And that's where we have to protect ourselves from these dastardly terrorists that might be coming in. Those are the things you think of first, and then start looking down, starting from the governor's office. Why do we need 200 or 300 people in the governor's office? I didn't have that many, but that's the first place I started paring down. Take a look at those areas that became more of a political payoff than actually a function of government.
So really what you're saying then, because and here's the thing that we constantly hear, and it's not going to be any different in the 2018, health, education, and public safety. So are you saying your first day in office, should the people of Guam elect Carl T.C. Gutierrez, governor of Guam again, 2018, that he's definitely going to make health, education, and public safety, and those are the entities you're going to start with, and you're going to make sure that they're fully manned, and then everything, I mean, and if the government has to downsize, it'll be other agencies that would downsize.
Well, first of all, you can't do this thing in one fell swoop.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Not one fell swoop, because there's going to be a transition team from November to the time I take office in January. These are the things that we're going to go in there. Take a look at all of these agencies and see where you can remove from here and put on the priority of public safety, education, public health, or however you move that up, public health first. And let's see what we need to pare down from the periphery, okay? And if they're saying, hey, you hire me at the governor's office, well, you're the last one down on the line, brother. You know, so this is what I'm saying. It's treat Gov Guam as a business. I mean, I hear that out there, but no one is thinking of it that way. Don't touch it. It's like a sacred cow. You know, borrow it and give it to the hospital, but don't take from here and put there. That's not the way a businessman deals with the situation. But people are not thinking that Gov Guam is a business, and you can't continue to hire people when you can't pay them.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, and so you're basically saying, I mean, you know, you're not, well, you started off as a territorial Republican.
Yeah.
Donald Trump said he was going to drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Okay. So in essence, you're going to do some draining yourself, right?
Well, sometimes they drain themselves out. That's why they transition, right? They're just gone. They're gone.
So you'll accept their resignation.
Absolutely, all the time. You know, you most likely don't need a deputy director. Or maybe, what I did last time was I consolidated 5 agencies into one person at Adelup to oversee. The legislature again fought me on that because they had people that they wanted to become directors. So this time I just want people to know that although you see a designation of Democrat on Carl Gutierrez, this Democrat is smart enough to know that I cannot give to the people if I don't have any money. And I know that the money comes from the business community. And we have to make sure that the business community thrives here, and that we make sure that we make a business-friendly place. You know, I put together this one-stop center that was suddenly dismantled right away. But it's so hard to do business on Guam. There's so many laws that govern business regulations that's making it difficult for people to do business without having to spend hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars ahead just to get a business license. We're going to streamline this first, make it business-friendly, and then go out like I did last time and invited people in with certain business product so that we can grow the economy here, so the kids going to GCC and the university can look into something to work here. They're leaving the island, and we got to stop them.
You know, Governor, actually in your first term, I know that you were looking at the provisions that Congress had disapproved in regards to our Commonwealth status. Okay, back then I think you were looking into some of the provisions like the mutual consent clause and immigration and all that. Now, of course, there's a plebiscite. I don't know if that's going to happen. You know, maybe by the time the election comes in 2018, maybe so. There is a challenge. and we'll get to that maybe in a different episode. But the fact remains is this: there are a lot of federal regulations that are put upon us, and as much as what you say we're going to do, a lot of it is controlled. The Jones Act, for one instance, is something that's really choking us.
No, well, that's one way to look at it, but it's a double-edged sword. Okay. For example, I fought to try to get the Jones Act repealed. It's just an impossibility.
Sure.
Can't even get Alaska or Hawaii to weigh in because they can't do it. So what do? You start thinking, what if we remove the Jones Act and you have all these Asian ships going in and out, picking up cargo, dropping up cargo, and then they decide to pull out? At least with the Jones Act, you've got a U.S. firm, okay? And when the airlines, before it went to, it was under the CAB, it's called essential services, essential air service, essential shipping service. Somebody has to take that cargo to Guam, even if they're losing money. The same thing as when Pan American was flying to the Micronesia. They don't care because the government makes up the difference if they lose money. It's called essential air service. Now
guaranteed,
the same thing,
guaranteed profit.
Profit, not profit, just even break even. The same thing with this thing. You pull out Matson, for example, or Sealand. I don't know who's there now. But suddenly, these guys are here, they're mainstay. The others might just pull out at a whim, the way Asia is. So don't look at it as let's do this because it's choking us. Find a better way than to continue this fight.
I know I got to take a quick break. We're going to come back and close up, but we got another episode that we're going to continue the show. So I got to take a quick break right now. But a lot to talk about with former Governor Kyle Gutierrez when we come back.